Hi everybody, it's Elizabeth and this is video number 7 in our series Shelter in Place and Diagram Sentences. And I thought very quickly that I would shove a peony into your face because you weren't expecting that. But these just opened in my yard yesterday and I think they're amazing. So I clipped one to bring some happiness inside. But you're not here for peonies. You're here to learn how to diagram. We are in the middle of our series on verbal phrases, and last week we tackled infinitives, to plus a verb, when it is serving as a noun in the sentence. And if you will recall, our sentence was, to wear a mask in a store is to love your neighbor. This is still true. And here is what it looks like when it's diagrammed. So infinitives go on a slanted line and then a straight line that is lifted up with stilts. And today we're going to tackle gerunds. Gerunds are verbs ending in ing that serve as a noun in the sentence. So let me show you what that looks like. No, wait, I'm going to do it this way. Yeah, there we go. A little bit of both. How's that? So here's our infinitive shape. And then here's the gerund shape. It's like steps. I sort of imagine it as the word spilling from one line to the other, which seems appropriate as you're playing around with this verb and noun form. But let me get our first sentence up there. Our first sentence today, I'll give you a teaser. Something is cool. What could it be? What could it be? What gerund might be cool? Oh, social distancing is cool, right? Yes, yes it is. Social distancing is cool. You know the is, it's a linking verb. Cool is a predicate adjective pointing you back to the subject, and the subject is social distancing. Social is an adjective describing distancing, and distancing is our gerund. I also like this word, distancing, because at least when I first learned it, it was, I don't remember this, but I know it initially primarily as a noun, the distance between two places. But it is convenient as a verb to distance yourself. And so I like that we are now taking a word and that perhaps probably was a noun first and then later used by us as a verb, and we're making it a noun again by gerunding it. I just verbed a noun, and then I just verbed verb. This is fun. But anyway, let's see what it looks like on the chart, or on the diagram. We're going to put it up on stilts. And then we make our stare. Social is an adjective that I'm going to capitalize since it's the first word of the sentence. And then distancing is going to spill from one line to the other. Social distancing is cool. Some people I've seen, rather than doing sort of the curved spill, they will literally divide the word in half and put part of it on one line and part of it on the other. It's an option. I think people do that because they like to keep things perpendicular and parallel. I prefer the spilling method because it sort of draws your attention and you know something odd is happening. There must be a gerund present. But you can do it either way. So there's our first sentence with a gerund as our subject. The next sentence puts the gerund in the predicate of the sentence. Gerunds enjoy spilling over multiple lines. I just told you this. So here's the subject, gerunds, enjoys the verb. And then what do they enjoy? They enjoy spilling over multiple lines. So spilling is going to be a direct object, gerund. Straight line, since it's a direct object. And then over multiple lines is a preposition, over lines, multiple. And so there's your sentence with a gerund serving as the direct object of the predicate. One more sentence. This next one I chose because there are two ing words. One is a gerund and one is a preposition. So you have to decide. You can't just say, oh, it's an ing word, it's a gerund. But you could very quickly eliminate one because if you will recall, a gerund is a verb plus ing. So if I take that rule and I look at the two ing words, I know that feed is a verb. I can feed something. So feeding is the gerund. But during, even though it ends with ing, I cannot dure something. So that must be a prepositional phrase or a preposition. So we'll place the prepositional phrase last. Let's go on and get this gerund on here. I have begun what? Feeding birds. So it's a direct object. And this gerund, which is a direct object, has an object. So you have an object within a direct object, and that's birds. So I'm just going to put birds on the same line as feeding, but I'm going to put that straight up and down line that I do when I'm indicating that it's an object. Okay, and then during the pandemic is a prepositional phrase that does not describe I am not during a pandemic. It describes when I began something. Okay, so it's going to go under have begun, and make sure you capitalize it, the D. Okay, during the pandemic, I have begun feeding birds. Sorry, I don't think I read that sentence to you before I started talking about it. But yes, during the pandemic, I have begun feeding birds. So your homework is, I won't take that down. You can do one of these or you could do all three of these. It's up to you. In this first sentence, you would be putting a gerund as the subject. In the second sentence, you would be putting the gerund as a direct object, and maybe play with a prepositional phrase underneath it. And then in the third sentence, it's also a direct object, but you're giving it an object as well. And if you can, if you choose to do this one, please also play with a preposition word like during that ends in ing, just so you can practice placing the ing words in the right places. Yeah, it's starting to look a little bit like hieroglyphics, isn't it? This is the fun part. And what's really cool is you know so much now about diagramming. You can add adjectives, adverbs, compound subjects, compound predicates. Make it as complicated as you want. Surprise me. I will enjoy looking at what you give me, and thank you again for taking part in this fun little thing. I hope it's still fun. See ya.